Grand Rising. We're going to go ahead and do a couple videos going over each individual RayKEY. So remember, we are eternal, love, light, remembered. We are the light. And we're remembering ourselves. We're seeing all the places and spaces that we may have been in time loops, may have been stretched across space, not realizing that all was self, all is the one fractaled out into the all, showing you yourself. So things are happening through us, and we're seeing the light that we are cascade in front of us and back to us. It's a perfected biofeedback system. So we've been teaching or sharing, guiding, let's say, RayKEY, the REIKI, from Master Sui's teachings for years now, since 2000. And it's evolved through the years, and so much so that the past, what we would call years, I would say 5 or so, there's been this strong calling to rewrite how it is shared and upgrade it for how it's being experienced now is much different. Especially now that we've dived into the quantum mechanics. So the book 2 of the quantum that is getting very close to being published is going to have the RayKEY 1 through 13, and they have me put a plus symbol because there could be more, because they're keys of light, they're vibrations of light. And these keys of light will be, like I was saying, at the end of this book 2 or the second half of it, the exercises that I'm sharing, and I feel like the videos, these individual videos, will help you get a deeper understanding with the whiteboard and some additional practices that I'll add on. Like I'm going to have us experience a mudra today with each RayKEY. So let me dive in. So I also want to share that there's been an exploration of consciousness, of awareness, of aspects of self through the delivery, through the years of understanding myself. And that voice has shifted and changed its frequency. It's changed the way it wants to be addressed, meaning how it wants to be dressed up. Does it want to be called the soul when I listen within, the higher self, the oversoul, the monad, the one, the two, the all, nothingness, the great void, the great mother, Earth, Terra, Gaia, Sophia, left toe, right toe, my heart, my inner child, all these different aspects of consciousness. Sometimes they're going to have different voices. And on this last discovery of listening about the need for this RayKEY shifting, R-A-Y, meaning a ray of light, and key, meaning keys that unlock. These vibrational rays of light that will unlock consciousness and reveal self to self. So as I was, listening within, there was the father, mother of light. Sometimes it separates into father of light or mother of light, but ultimately it's the beginning point. I wanted to know more about benevolent source, and father, mother of light, above all gods, arrives. And so much so that I even had a grand reflection meet me on the shores of the beach and, share with me an additional text that precedes the Bible, and sent me some pages that helped me understand the Father of Light. And Father of Light started talking a lot more in these past few, what we would call a month of downloading this material in this way. So a lot of what I'm going to share is from Father, Mother of Light consciousness, that beginning point of light. And as you listen within, we invite you to be open to, benevolent source energy. Where does something begin from the highest good for yourself? What can you listen within about? And even if you feel like you're listening within to your inner voice and it identifies something as dark, there is a lot to be learn from within the darkness. We are here to merge into the oneness, so that there's not good or bad, right or wrong. There's only understanding, and overstanding of why that split would have occurred. And then there's forgiveness to be had. Because we have to realize all of that we define or that we would explain is from the mind. And, our true love that we are is beyond the mind. It's beyond these words. It's beyond what I, could share with you. I'm only sharing with you my discoveries. And this RayKEY downloads, uploads, was a request to Spirit, to the One, to love, light, remembered, to remember beyond the words, through technique and meditation that would give us an opportunity to let the vibrational frequencies of love, light, remembered, to come through us and shimmy us, vibrate us awake, vibrate the DNA, vibrate it so much that you could be beyond the words, you could feel beyond the words, you could remember beyond the words. And although we still will always suggest that you dive into understanding yourself through meditation and contemplation and doing, things like the Akashic records of who, what, when, where, why, which is information or questions to consciousness. You may not get words back. It may be buckets of knowing, claircognizance. So there'll still be an invitation for those listenings of content, of knowledge, of wisdom. But ultimately, there comes a point where you just arrive. You sit in the question and the deeper understanding arrives. And so these techniques is an invitation for you to sit in the energy with an intention and a request for the great energy of love light that you are to vibrate you awake. And so let's get into the material. So, there's also going to be levels of awakening where you look to, let's say, the sun or God or the light or source or Father, Mother of light, and you feel like it's outside of yourself. So at this drawing, it's like the sun is representing the ultimate light, and the fractal of you, that droplet, that soul light, is this beautiful light of the RayKeys that's coming through you. And remember, the key to enlightenment is your imagination. So it may feel like you're receiving the light from outside of yourself, but you also have to remember, what I was going to say is, whereas other times it's going to feel like it's coming from within you, it's birthing from within you. And that is what we're after, is this deep untangling of us from externally separating to bringing that home, bringing that light, that essence home, so that we can reconcentrate back to the one and remember ourselves from within, okay? The quantum really has us finding all those infinite fractalities, projections, and bringing it back home within to the one, to the finite. So let me also get back to what I was saying, is that sometimes the light's going to feel like it's outside of you, but you have to remember that the oversoul that you are, the greater causal being that you are, the space, the universe, the Ethernet, you're not just in this avatar suit, you're everywhere, you're omnipresent. So even though it may seem like the light is coming from above, if I am everywhere, then it's still coming from within me. Okay? So remember, all is self, and this is all a great awakening. So as we look at the RayKEY 1, we see that we're going to invite the white light of purity, of purification. And we start with the top of the head into the two hemispheres of the brain. And this is the most important part Father of Light shares about this process. And so I hear like some sort of, it's actually like a weed whacker. So we're clearing the weeds from the brain. But ultimately, if this is two hemispheres of the brain, and ultimately it is one brain, a mono brain. So at the center of the brain, the corpus callosum, it's like a net, like a webbing. This corpus callosum has the two hemispheres of the brain talking to each other, back and forth. And when we think individual thoughts, it has, neurons firing and wiring together in individual areas of the brain. And so what we're after is a purification of the whole brain at once to unify. So it's an invitation for purification and for unification of the brain to come back to that genius brain so that we think wholeness, so that we remember that all is self, so that we remember that all that is in front of us is us. We are seeing what we are willing to see. And so when we're bringing in that Reiki light of Reiki 1, when we call upon it, even out in the day, for Reiki 1, you just call it. You see the white light illuminating. Use your imagination. And as that white light comes in, we're going to ask that unification happens and the full brain illuminates. And with that full brain of illumination, we then allow for, it may feel like you take some deep breaths and you feel like there's certain areas of the brain that are really being worked with, vibrating, right? And it's loosening up anything that would keep it from being whole brain activated. When we are looking into the material from the quantum material, and we remember that the brain waves, and we remember that the brain waves can, go from epsilon to like a flat line, or a little bit of wave of 0 to 0.5 hertz, and we start moving into beta, then alpha, delta, gamma, hyper gamma. So it goes almost like a flat line, and then it goes big waves, a little bit medium, a little bit smaller, really fast, and hyper gamma. And then it goes to lambda, which is 100 to 200 hertz. Okay? So what's really neat about our brain that we've found with meditators and putting, sensors on the brain while people are in meditation is that there's a series with Gregg Braden that talks about this in depth. And I'll have to put it in the description here what that series is called because it's escaping me right now. But what he showed is that the whole brain will activate in meditation. And so there's two states of epsilon, which is 0 to 0.5 hertz, and lambda, which is 100 to 200 hertz, where the brain is fully illuminated. And there's a wormhole, a parallel quantum wormhole there that allows for quantum jumps, because when the whole brain is illuminated at those two states of brain vibration, you in one moment can be flatline, no thoughts, stillness in the brain, and then all of a sudden this super fast lambda brainwave comes on, and it's almost like the same thing. Like there's almost, even though it's so fast, it's like there's no movement, but yet an opening in space happens and you can jump into new reality. And so our goal with these Reiki and studying the quantum mechanics and activating your quantum mechanics back online is to get you to be able in any now moment to always have whole brain, to always have the ability to come into stillness and neutrality and 0 point, which is no point of view and no feeling on a topic. that you are able to witness. So these two brain waves are the witness. The Reiki one is inviting the witness for purification, so that in a moment you could instantly change the scene to something greater, that your oversoul, that your greater being could instantly plasma project or align you to yet a higher probability. So how's that happening, Well, we need to get this whole avatar illuminated again. We need to awaken to the light that we are, to the love that we are. Why do we say love, light, remembered? Because you are. You are ultimately love, you are ultimately light, and you are eternal. And you are now. You're not time. You're everything. So, you could identify as time. You could identify as duality and keep firing and wiring one little point here, one little point there, thoughts, having strong point of views, getting in arguments. You could keep doing that duality dance. However, the avatar is awakening right now into genius mode. That's the full brain illuminated, the full body illuminated as liquid love light. So the love light that you are is not fear. Fear is a brain that will, the F ear is where you heard things and you're micro pinpointing gray matter in the brain, and it's only activating little areas of the brain at a time. And that then slows down the abilities. With wound consciousness, the DNA is not able to unfurl its multidimensionality of the needed lambda brain waves, of the needed hypergamma movements of the heart and all the energy centers at once. It needs to be light. It needs to know that it's light and that it can move and groove and accelerate and decelerate its frequencies on command, as well as at a very high superintelligent state. So as you are doing this purification of Reiki 1, that's our main goal, is to get this unification of the brain, so it will take your imagination to see the whole brain illuminating and then see the entire body illuminating. I had that open too long. So as we see the entire body illuminating, the next area would be to see your heart, right? The two main parts that we focus on is the brain, the first brain, because really our heart is a second brain and our gut is a third brain. But the two main parts is we want this whole brain illuminated and we want the whole heart illuminated with white light. We want the whole torso, the whole body illuminated with white light, so that we have easier access to the quantum manifesto of the projector and the generator of light to work together to easily begin to be more present, to be more the witness at all times, at all nows. And so as we bring in the whole white light unification, purification to the heart, we then allow it to fill the torso, fill the legs, fill the arms, and just become this white light. So that will be your Reiki 1 assignment, is to really start to work with deep breathing and an invitation for this unification and purification. An invitation to remember yourself as love light. An invitation to allow whatever needs to vibrate any part of the body as you're doing deep breathing to happen. Your super intelligence is on. We are on together. We are awake to the oneness we are. And we're willing to see things new. We're willing to slow down and witness something that's happening in the biofeedback of the projector, of the green screen, of the hologram, and say, wow, I just projected this scene. Did I watch a movie that, is projecting this? Did I read a book of a plot and duality that's projecting this? Did I see this scene from childhood that I'm projecting this again? And can I now see it as wholeness? Can I now allow it to come out of that fractal pattern of micro firing wiring my brain, and can I illuminate the whole brain, illuminate the whole body, and allow it to be new. That's your ability to quantum jump from epsilon to lambda when you're meditating, where all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility that I was projecting the reality to look as duality. And now I choose to see it in wholeness and in love light. I choose to awaken out of the dream that I'm actually projecting this light show. And all that I see in front of me is love. All that I see in front of me is love light. Remembered, all beings are awakened. I have to be biased and be willing to make new programs that are going to override limiting point of view around the reality. Okay, because I wasn't shown this time around. I heard it within, but I wasn't shown from outside of me these truths. So if I wasn't shown it, and I then built neural pathways that are just keep going down a groove of the mind to reproject that, because I didn't intentionally invite something new to occur, then I'm going to keep projecting that. And it's going to build a deeper pathway, a stronger neural synapse that's easier to run that than something new. So your practice is, yes, meditation, yes, the breath work. I'm going to add on a mudra. We're adding in the RayKeys of the vibrational light that you are. But it's a practice, a daily practice, a now moment to now practice that says, okay, I know I just saw that shadow. That's funny. But let me witness. Let me illuminate my whole being. Let me illuminate the whole plane of existence and re-see that. I see the wholeness of that being that was showing me a shadow, that I believed them to do that. I had to perceive, I had to have a pathway that would have them be that way. They're not doing it to me. It's happening through me, and I'm seeing them the way I expect them to see them. I have to expect something new of all. That they are love light awakened. That they know their eternal souls. That they've awoke from the dream. And they're in the ascended realm of the awakening of the golden age, where we all know that we're eternal souls. We all know that we are going to take responsibility for what we're projecting. We're not going to take it personally. We're just going to go, wow, look at that shadow. Are we ready to shine light into it and come out of the shadow? How do we come out of the shadow? We be present. We come out of time. We honor the moon, but we're not going to base the reality off the dark. We're going to base it off the light. We know the dark is the light. It's only one. There's only one of us here. The two was the dark and the light, to see itself at a level. But you're maturing out of that need of the play and the drama, and you're rising up. Okay? You're awakening back to the starting point. You fell, and then now you're rising up. And as you rise back up, there's purity request. There's coming out of substances. There's coming out of things that you were using to deal with the duality because you didn't know how to deal with it. Well, now you're going to take responsibility that you projected it, and you're going to come back to purity, cleanse, clear your space continually, clear your body, clear your mind. Find the places you're still thinking that someone would do something to you, and forgive yourself, and forgive yourself for thinking that. Let everyone love you. Know that. Everyone loves me. Everyone accepts me. I accept me. I know my divinity. I know my worth. They know my divinity. They know my worth, because they're only showing them what I would see of myself. Come back into wholeness with me. This is a grand invitation for us to build a new world based on love that sees all working out for everyone. Everyone is supplied for. Those are the new thoughts. If I'm going to think at all, my goal is not to think too much, right? Because if I just let it kind of reel and roll from some old density, or from what, I haven't really addressed in the grand collective, then I may infinitely project what I just let idle thoughts go to. So if I'm going to think at all, they're going to be wholeness thoughts. They're going to be thoughts of grander visions for our world based on love, where everybody wins. There's plenty for everyone. This is the land of plenty. I am the supply. Okay, so the mudra that we're going to use is left hand sitting on top of right, thumbs touching, resting in your lap. Sit up tall. Allow yourself to feel the light that you are. Feel the space around you as full light. Think of objects that are around you, chairs, beds, floors, buildings, trees. All is light. So that you're already sitting in the light. And as you sit up with this mudra, this dhyani mudra of contemplation, take some deep breaths. And we're going to go invite RayKEY, the vibrational love light, RayKEY 1, in. Allow this white luminescent light to enter the crown, filling up the head, filling up the entire brain so that it remembers itself as one. Allow any additional vibrations, sensations, even memories just to pass through as you take deep breaths. And allow the brain and all the tissues, cerebral spinal fluid, all the particles, muscles, bone, the eyes, the nose, the ears, the mouth, teeth, the tongue, all to come back to remembering themselves as light, working together as one. A purification, a unification of love light remembered. Down into the neck, the white light, like a waterfall, begins to come into the neck, filling out the thyroid, parathyroids, the larynx, the trachea, purifying, reminding that it is love light remembered. Into the torso, filling up the torso like a glass of water with white light, with an extra bowl in the center of the chest, filling up the heart energy center, the lungs, for a deep unification and purification. Down into the lower body, into the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, gallbladder, stomach, bladder, intestines, reproductive, kidneys, all the tissues and muscles and bone, vessels and nerves, all coming on, remembering the love light, vibrating, purifying. Let the white light then go out the limbs, the legs and the arms simultaneously. Let the white light fill out around the body, into the aura. And then witness the love light remembered, the white light of purity, breathing deep. Inhaling and exhaling. I am the love light remembered. I am purity. I am wholeness. I am one. I am the love light remembered. I am purity. I am wholeness. I am one. I allow all to show me this oneness. I allow all to remember that they too are love light remembered. Breathe deep. Inhaling and exhaling. Allow. Take another deep breath in. Take your hands up to your chest. Let your palms touch your chest. Smile. Allow yourself to open your eyes and witness the white light surround you everywhere. See yourself in all as love remembered. Use this Reiki 1 whenever you feel guided. Until Reiki 2, have a beautiful now and all nows.